I literally think I got all of those wrong. I think I just made $0 for the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insights on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Joey Coleman.
And I'm Dan Gingiss, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant.
He is the man, the legend, the one, the only, a friend and a mentor to both of your Experience Points hosts, and the man who generously wrote the foreword to my very own book, Winning at Social Customer Care. He's written 6 books of his own, and he's a New York Times best-selling author, a member of the exclusive National Speakers Association Hall of Fame, a celebrated strategist and MC, and he is in another Hall of Fame, the Word of Mouth Marketing Hall of Fame. Double Hall of Famer Jay Baer, welcome to Experience Points.
Also the Lake Havasu High School Alumni Hall of Fame, which is true. So that's 3. Update the slide, man.
Triple Hall of Famer.
You know, I love it. How many, is there a limit on the number of Hall of Fame accolades you can get, Jay, or are you just going to collect them all?
I'm just going to collect them all. I am also shooting to be a member of the Professional Crochet Hall of Fame. I feel like that's one that's in the cards.
Very nice.
And on and on.
I believe you might have crocheted the hat you're wearing. Well, speaking of
I did not.
You did not. Oh, it looks like it.
It only looks like it, yeah.
It only looks like that. Well, that's nice. Well, speaking of crocheting and clothing, Jay, you are infamous for always having on a plaid suit. And I know, because we're friends outside of the show, that you have a special little website whenever you speak for someone. Could you tell us a little bit how you're bringing your personality to the experience of the clothes you wear?
It's not really personality. I don't wear plaid anywhere else, right? It's not like I've got plaid socks and plaid underwear and plaid wallpaper. It's just a strategy, right? So here's the thing. You speak at all these conferences back when that used to be a thing, and you come off the stage and you can talk to some people up in the front of the stage and collect business cards and answer questions. But a lot of people are like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. I don't want to wait in line to talk to Jay, but I do want to ask that guy a question later. Well, how do you make sure that they can do that? Well, number one, you gain tons of weight, super useful. And then second, you wear something that they can pick out of a very large crowd. It does help to be a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. I'm not totally kidding about that. But the suit is not because I love plaid. It's because when I walk off stage and 2 hours later, someone's like, oh, that's the speaker. I wanted to see if you could come do our conference. So now I've built it into a whole differentiator in my business. And when people ask me to give a speech, whether online and now virtually, they get to go to a special website we built called dressjaybaer.com. You can go there right now if you like, dressjaybaer.com, and they can pick out which of my plaid suits I wear on stage. Sometimes they want to match their logo. Sometimes the CEO just likes brown. I don't know, whatever. It's all good.
That's awesome. And doing it in your own unique style. I love it. So you're playing for a special charity today,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Tell us who you're playing for and why you're such a big fan.
It's the Ceiling Height Association of America. If you have any ability to see the video as we're recording this, it appears as though Joey Coleman is in a hobbit's house. He is in a 6-foot-high being John Malkovich sort of a situation. And so this charity allows people to add height to their rooms. So it's one that means a lot to me, actually.
I so appreciate that. I would appreciate the additional aerial clearance here in the room that we're recording in.
You're a tall guy, Joey, but I didn't think you were that tall.
I am a tall guy. This makes it seem like I'm about 9.5 feet tall, which I'm not quite that tall.
Extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I am playing for the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington here in Bloomington, Indiana. Go Hoosiers. Boys and Girls Club means a lot to me. My stepdad, before he passed away, was a big Boys and Girls Club supporter as well. He grew up in a boys club in Illinois and then worked there for many years. So Boys and Girls Clubs are doing great work in every local community out there, including yours, friends, especially with a lot of kids not in school and all the disruption we've had. they serve an incredibly important community service. So take a look at your own local Boys and Girls Club and consider them for support.
Oh, I love it, Jay. Such a great organization. Excited that we're playing for the kids today. Let's get into the game. Today we're going to be playing Think Fast.
In Think Fast, you will have 1 minute to answer 5 experience questions. For each question, you must quickly choose between 2 possible answers. Correct answers given before time runs out are worth 100 points. 5 correct answers will earn you 500 bonus points for a possible score of 1,000 points.
Jay, are you ready to get started?
I am ready. I am fired up. Thank you to Avtex.
All right, outstanding. Well, today we're going to be asking you questions from a study by our friends at Brandwatch, who put out a report of the best brands and industries for customer experience in 2020. And we heard that you know a thing or two about customer experience, so we thought that you might be good for this game. All right, Joey, let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Here we go, Jay. First question, which industry ranked number 1 for generating the most positive customer experiences? Was it hotels or consumer tech?
Consumer tech.
Question 2, what was the top brand out of 600 based on positive social media mentions that included personal pronouns like I? Was it Wendy's or Etsy?
Etsy.
Number 3, which brands came in second and third for positive social media mentions? Was it Four Seasons and Dior or MTV and Sephora?
Four Seasons and Dior.
Question 4, toward which industry were consumers most unforgiving of poor customer experience? They were either unlikely or very unlikely to give a brand a second chance. Was it household goods or airlines?
Airlines.
And finally, in which industry do consumers most likely expect an answer within minutes if they reported a problem? Is it consumer technology or hotels?
I'm going to say hotels.
All right.
Woo! We got it in under the wire, Jay. Great job. Let's see.
I literally think I got all of those wrong. I think
You're not
I
feeling
think I
very
just
confident?
made $0 for the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Let's go to the scores. Maybe you did better than you thought.
That was so hard.
Very difficult questions, very difficult game. Let's get into it.
Question number 1, which industry ranked number 1 for generating the most positive customer experiences? You said consumer tech. The answer is hotels. Uh-oh, Jay. We're 0 for 1, but that's okay. We're going to keep going here. Question number 2 asked, what was the top brand out of 600 based on positive social media mentions that included personal pronouns like I? You said Etsy. The answer was Etsy.
Hey,
Well done.
He's on the board, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the board.
He is on the board. All right, question number 3. Which brands came in second and third for positive social media mentions? You said Four Seasons and Dior. The answer was MTV and Sephora.
MTV is the one that threw me off there. Sephora's got a very cult-like following, including on my daughter. Four Seasons, I'm like, oh, everybody likes the Four Seasons. Dior, yeah, that's a tough one. I didn't think MTV was still that
a thing
popular.
I don't know I mean, I'll be honest, Jay, I don't know that the three of us are still in their target demographic. That may be the challenge,
for sure.
You know?
For sure.
And they're definitely not still popular for what we remember them as being popular for when we were younger. All right, towards which industry were consumers most unforgiving of poor customer experience? You said airlines. The answer is actually household goods. Believe it or not. Tough one. All right.
You know, who's got that kind of mop drama? Nobody. You're going to use that same mop again. I don't protest. What does Brandwatch know?
There's an official complaint has been logged by the contestant to question the validity of
It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
We're going to go to the replay officials in New York and check into this. All right. And in which industry do consumers most likely expect an answer within minutes if they reported a problem? You said hotels. Joey, show them the answer. Unfortunately, it was consumer technology.
The fix is in.
Jay.
This is some kind of.
This is a
show.
tough go.
We're gonna make sure we get you that Brandwatch report after the show. As we talk about all of these questions and the brands that are doing things right and kind of getting the most attention, one of the things that really came through in this study was about building a brand community. Now, I know that you have studied so many different companies and you've shared so many case studies in your books. What's a company that really sticks out to you for its community?
You know, one of my favorite examples of brands that build a great community goes all the way back to really the beginning of brand community digitally. It's a case study that's, you know, well over a decade old now, but I still think it's the Harley-Davidson Harley Owners Group, the Hogs. What I like about that example is not only does it exist online, very robust message boards and forums and opportunities for Harley owners and riders to interact online, but it has a very, very, very important, perhaps more important offline component. One of the things I don't like right now, guys, is when we think about brand community, so often we now think about online community, like let's build a Facebook group or some sort of freestanding kind of social media-esque community for our customers to interact. Yeah, that's part of the story for sure, but there's a lot of other things you can and should do offline, and I think Harley-Davidson is a really good example of that. Certainly, if you want to be part of an online-only group, I wouldn't stand in your way, but I really like thinking about community from both sides, online and offline.
Jay, I totally agree with you. I mean, there needs to be that online-offline brand blend. And, you know, I know you two tease me a lot because I'm not as active on social media, but I think some companies figure that they're making a choice one way or the other. And the sad reality, or the challenging reality maybe, is that in this era, you've got to have a presence on both. Could you speak a little bit to the idea and the power of comments that are coming in on social? I mean, a lot of the questions that we asked you about, we're talking about positive brand positive brand messages in social. Can you talk about how that actually impacts the bottom line of the business? Because I think lots of times we see it more as window dressing and ego stroking, when the reality is it can have an impact on our sales too.
A colossal impact on your sales. In fact, I would argue maybe the biggest impact on your sales, Joey. Look, the best way to grow any business is for your customers to grow it for you. That requires word of mouth. What is an online review? Word of mouth, asynchronously. What is a social media comment? Word of mouth in a digital environment. It's just as, if not more important, than sitting around with your friend over coffee and saying, hey, I like that movie, I don't like a Prius, whatever your circumstances happen to be. And certainly it's much easier to share online word of mouth than offline word of mouth in any event. So people tend to ignore is the wrong word, people tend to undervalue social media comments, both positive and negative, about brands, but those are the early warning detection system of advocacy or lack of support. And that's why I would argue, if you went back through that Brandwatch report and said, okay, here are the best companies, and then mapped against that the robustness of their voice of the customer and social listening departments, I would be willing to bet a significant amount of money on behalf of the Bloomington Boys and Girls Club that there is a strong correlation between voice of the customer programs, social listening, and overall customer experience excellence.
Well, I have to say, Joey, since we are talking to a member of the Word of Mouth Marketing Hall of Fame, I honestly don't think there's anything else you and I can add to that discussion, because that was a perfect answer. So let's talk about what Jay did playing Think Fast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this game, correct answers are worth 100 points, and Jay
I wouldn't know what that's like.
and Jay answered one question correctly, which means he earned 100 points. Now, that being said, I'm hearing something from our producers. They felt that the analysis was really strong that Jay gave. So this 100 points is being doubled to 200 points. We'll convert those into dollars, which means that Jay earned a $200 donation to the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington. Congratulations, Jay.
I am glad to take your pity dollars. I am not too proud. On behalf of the kids, thank you. And seriously, guys, thank you. I love the show. It's really, really fun. But most importantly, thank you to Avtex for their support. It's really, really great that they're doing that. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Jay, for being on and for being such a great sport. We really appreciate it. And you know what? You played 3 games with us on Experience Points, and altogether you did pretty well for the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington. So check out the other games with Jay and our other celebrity contestants at experiencepointsgame.com. That website, again, is experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you soon for more examples of remarkable customer experiences here at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
I really like the discussion about community and how community can become an extension of the brand. I relate a story from a long time ago in my career where we were actually working with Harley Davidson on a replacement of one of their operational or manufacturing systems, and we were going to recommend that they change the dealer number from 4 digits to this alphanumeric kind of 8-digit code because of the software and the dealer console that we were using to help us. Man, did they have a bad reaction to that, and we couldn't figure it out. Like, it's just a dealer number until one of the guys literally rolled up his sleeve and showed us that tattoo he has on his arm, and it had his dealer number tattooed. And so when you have that kind of brand loyalty, that kind of community where people are getting your brand tattooed on their biceps, then I think that's the pinnacle of a community experience around your brand.
Well, for a few minutes there, Kurt, I assumed you were rolling up your sleeve and you were going to show me your Harley tattoo and your dealer loyalty.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have a bicep big enough to have that. So.
That's why I need it to be a 2-digit number, not some.
Exactly.
But yeah, I picked up the same thing about the community, and what came across to me is they talked about online community, offline, and we talk about the need to engage customers today on a variety of channels. How do you meet your customer where they are? For some, it's via a mobile app. Others are using your website. Some still prefer to call into your contact center. But to deliver that exceptional experience, you have to really know how do they want to be engaged and meet them where they are today. And that's certainly one of the themes I saw when I watched that session.